Hello, everyone. Today I'm welcoming Francesca. We've met at ETH Milan with Francesca, and she's representing a very interesting company with very interesting tech, which we all love. It's called ZK Pass, so it can probably already you can probably already see the permissionless stuff without anybody's influence. But I'll let Francesca talk about it because I don't really know what it is. And we will chat also about how ladies get to crypto these days and how they end up in deep tech projects like ZK Pass. So welcome, Francesca.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Francesca, and currently I am EU market lead and regulations here in Europe, based in Italy for ZK Pass project. I actually just joined the team about 2 months ago, so it's really at the beginning stage.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And it's been really an honor so far to be part of this project and work with such high-level individuals. The team is extremely organized, and everyone has a lot of experience to share and committed to really bring value to the space and being able to see a project such as ZK Pass all the way through the end.
So why don't we start with the size of the team, because you already talked about the team, how great they are. So how many of you on the team actually?
We're actually about 20 people working full time, and then 6 part-time and interns. And our team is all over the world. We are mainly based in Hong Kong, Sydney, New York, here in Italy.
Awesome.
And yes.
So you're basically fully remote, right?
Yeah,
like
fully remote. Like most Web3 projects, and work really around the clock.
So this is probably a great segue to ask, how did you get to ZK Pass? I assume you haven't met them in Italy.
No, definitely I haven't met in Italy. It was a long journey. I'll give you the short route, and
give us the highlights.
And then yes. But practically, I started to work in a community building and funded my own project to bring more women into this space, which was called More Women in Crypto. As an inexperienced founder, of course, I made many mistakes, and I learned a lot of important lessons, but also had met great people and had good experiences that led me to be even more passionate about this space and wanting to learn more about this innovative technology. Actually, I was co-hosting a weekly meeting in Tulum, Mexico, called the Tulum Crypto Club. And while I was co-hosting, I met now a mentor and a friend, Quina, which is working with Delicium, a Web3 game, AAA game. And she was very impressed with bring and inspire more women into the space, and found my my post on social media, came to the meeting, and crushed the meeting actually, and got introduced herself, which is again extremely rare to see such a high-powered woman so young to hold such a position. And since then we became friends, and she's a mentor of mine, and sharing a lot about the importance of growing your confidence, growing your skills, and make sure you keep a record also of measuring kind of like, your progress and your success and your failures, and then learning from your failures. And from there, I got introduced into the Web3 gaming. I'm not an avid gamer. I'm a big fan of Civilization, so I knew some of the old school
Okay, so
Web2
you
gaming.
are a gamer.
Here and there, I disappear, for a few days into the computer. But
Nice.
I am very curious always, and I have a background in psychology and social behavior, so I'm enamored to learn more about the human condition and how technology and disruptive technology affects our day-to-day life, and what grabs our attention. And I joined a startup project, Ubilon, that focused on digital assets, so NFTs, ownership, and utilize those to leverage. Sorry, to leverage the. I got noticed over here, practically to gain funds and. I don't know how to pause
Don't
this.
worry about it. Look, you can send me the links afterwards and I'll put them into show notes. We don't have to talk
Yeah,
about every
practically,
detail. It's not a
it was a
big deal.
lending solution. So you practically will be able to utilize your NFTs to store it in our store, our kind of vault
Mhm.
without transferring ownership through a new EIP Ethereum process, and that will give us the possibility for the gamer to keep playing and provide
Mhm.
some sort of funds for them to be able to utilize in their real life. So the whole point was to help gamers to gain more of a remove their stereotype of always being the broke gamer, and actually help them to facilitate them leveraging their digital ownership in the gamings for them to provide liquidity.
Okay.
And it was,
Sounds interesting. So what did you do there?
I
What was
focused
your
a lot
role?
on, excuse me?
What was your role there?
My role was okay. So I began right at the start of the project, and literally I came in and renamed the startup. So starting with the marketing,
Okay.
starting with the marketing and the presentation, anything from making sure that the name was just able to be transferred across the board. And we went through a whole remarketing, rebranding strategy, and also created a plan to build a communication and post that allowed the users and our followers to be informed, so educated in the process,
Mhm.
and be fully transparent of what was our process as a startup and where we were. So creating kind of like a monthly Twitter spaces that allowed anyone to ask questions and for us to give full reports on what was happening and where we were.
Mhm.
Talking about the
Cool.
pain points and talking about also the highlights and wins.
Cool.
And from there,
Okay, so now how did you get from gaming to ZK Pass?
right, that's a big jump. But the practically, I decided to leave the team in February, and from there I got relocated. I relocated myself in Europe. And when I was here in Europe, I went through the basics of relearning and education. I studied from trading to forex trading to blockchain fundamentals and some basics of zero knowledge proof. From there, I
Okay.
contacted several projects, had I think about 4 or 5 different interviews with different startups, and through also my pool of friends that I connected with and cultivated a relationship throughout the years. that learned about my commitment into the space and what I was doing, they connected me to the team at ZK And I believe I did 4 meetings with them before having a trial period in the team. And I right now here positioned in the EU market. I speak 3 languages. I speak fluently also Spanish, and I'm quite knowledgeable about the community, Latin American community. Also, I really like to work in operations and maximize, optimize the processes and methods for example, like onboarding new people in our team or onboarding partnerships. So anything that has to do with identifying which are the patterns of the top qualities of what kind of partnerships we really focus on engaging with and bringing to our ecosystem. And making sure that this process has a continuity in communication, and we are able to pinpoint exactly how we can connect with them. It's either through tech integration that can be done at testnet level, or it can be done, during mainnet. So we are slowly building and communicating with each other to create a use case that then will be launched at mainnet. Or if it's government agencies and connected with the private sectors. So are we helping certain governments to create a use case that helps them create a government ID connected with also private sector, for example, insurance companies, or even travel, tourism, anything like that. And also organizations. So are we giving back to the community? Are we connecting and making sure to stay on top of research opportunities, collaborations, and giving our contribution also to what are the values and the principles that really created the decentralized world.
Okay. So I think you've mentioned a lot of things which I'm going to be curious about, but let's rewind back to what exactly is ZK Pass doing for like normal people, explanation for normal people, and then I think a lot of things you just mentioned will make more sense.
Practically, ZK Pass considered is a bridge. Is a bridge for data, for private data, which is actually our larger chunk of private data, different from public data, and is a bridge from the Web 2, which a lot of people don't understand what it is, just simple like HTTPS websites, right? Just regular websites, to Web 3, meaning to blockchain. And we are able to help this process almost see kind of like a train or a highway, right? But in the process of we are transferring this data and making sure that this data is verified or proves some sort of like true statement, there is no data leakage. And so any sensitive data that is being transferred is secure, kind of in this tunnel.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. So I assume there are a lot of other projects focusing on data security. What will be the difference between the others and ZK Pass then?
One of the main feature, one of it is, okay, I'll tell you the first one. The first one, as we already mentioned, is the fact that we are compatible with Web 2. So we don't need any API and we don't need an issuer, right? We can literally connect to any website and be able to transfer that data to utilize, to be verified and brought into the Web3 world. And the other part is that through a multi-party computation process and a three-party and is a second party transport layer security that we actually redesign into a three-party transport layer security, allows it to not only to have a secured communication, but for the prover, which is the user, not to tamper with this data. So it has a kind of like an anti-cheating prevention, which is extremely important because we want to make sure that the user is not touching this data.
Anti-cheating prevention. I like that. It's a nice phrase.
And the other feature that I wanted to mention is the kind of like transgate, which allows the users and empowers the users, also the prover, to be able to select, to kind of like a ZK template, select which precise information, which private information wants to send to be verified. And without disclosing their full, their full sensitive data. Very quickly. And an example is like, I want to be approved from to a real estate company that I have an account of at least $500,000. Right. And so, but I do have like $1 million in my account, but I don't want them to know that. Right. So through this process of verification through my bank account, I'm able to provide them with a proof that says, okay, we bank say that this statement is true, that this person that has an account with us has at least $500,000 in the bank account, which is the amount that you need to approve them for purchasing a property.
I see. Interesting. Okay, so you kind of jumped exactly into my next question. Like, what are I think the easiest to understand use cases for normal people, and what is the project that you are most excited about? Because I assume you guys have projects with different companies, institutions, and basically probably almost everybody kind of needs this.
Absolutely. I actually, I think sometimes there is a resistance maybe in our space to collaborate with government agencies, but we really welcome and we really would like, we really want to governments to implement and integrate this technology. It's a little bit difficult, in terms of working with our government agencies. We do the information of the users has to be disclosed, right? Also for anti-money laundering laws and regulations and all sorts of things. But we want to minimize as much as possible that from the government agency to the private sector, for example, this sensitive data doesn't get leaked and shared with other possible third parties. So a great use case, I think, is kind of like the digital ID. They are, kind of controversial, but I think when things are controversial, it's super important to study them and learn about them. And, we have, for example, when you travel with a passport and you go to a country, a lot of countries want you to bring your passport with you at all times, wherever you go, for security purposes. And it's not really secure and safe to bring your passport with you. It's easy, you can lose it. And then you get stuck inside a country, you have to go to the consulate, issue a new passport. And luckily if you're American, but if you're Italian, you might have to stay there for like a month before someone's reply. So certain countries are allowing for this digital residency kind of, so that where even if I'm a tourist, right, my passport, my identity has been kind of cleared, and so I receive both a Web3 ID, but also a physical ID. I have both options, or just utilizing the Web3 ID option, virtual. And through a QR scanning device can be utilized for me to check in inside hotels, rent a car. For example, even if I have an issue with the rent-a-car companies and I need to connect with an insurance because I was into an accident, that I'm able to practically share this data with them, that I am, who I say I am, and that I hold a certain type of citizenship, and that I am, I have a tourist visa and so on into the country, without giving them other further information that perhaps I don't want them to know.
Cool. So is there a country which is already using ZK Pass this way?
We are in the process of working, actually, probably one of the really great use case that we're working on right now is with MNT, which is a telecommunication company for the African Union. And we are in the process of creating a use case that allows the telecommunication company to create an ID that prove certain information about the users without giving more information, without sharing more sensitive data, and being able to give this basic information for them to be able to open an account, with preventing data leakage. And this is done also in collaboration with certain government agencies. That is simply to make sure that also that generated ID that verifies the person's name and location can be utilized also for government and other use cases. So it's really an infrastructure.
It's actually, it's actually a great location for piloting something like that, because I know that in Africa, a lot of things happen in banking, but through the phone. And most people don't, even have cards. Basically, even in a restaurant, they bring you a bank account number. You just, from your phone, send them money and they get it in a second.
Yeah.
And you can open an account with just your phone. So that's pretty cool use case. And I can imagine a lot less hassle than dealing with a European agency.
Of course. And I mean, you just save so much time as well. It does take time for the infrastructure to be implemented. And there is actually people that I learned in terms of statistics are very knowledgeable about how to use even a wallet, like Web3 wallet, because they utilize this for sending money and so on. And so it's easier to have interface that allows for this use case to be implemented on a large scale than perhaps in locations like Italy, where we don't still not utilize certain we still kind of resistant to this kind of technology, but we utilize it for joining the fantasy football team, and so we're able to connect with fantasy football team through our wallet, but we're resistant to still purchasing cryptocurrencies or other things online.
That makes sense. Okay, so just for me to imagine the process, right? So if you're working with a telco company, for example, you guys are basically providing the secure layer, let's call it bridge, as you did, secure bridge.
Yeah.
So basically you wrap up the data, make sure that nobody can tamper with them, and then you hunt, of course, but that gives the information which is needed without disclosing anything else, right? Okay.
And so imagine it's like a ZK template, right? So we discussed with the telecommunication company, and we figured it out what are the minimum data, private data information that you need for them to provide you, for the users to provide you, to be able to open an account. Perfect. So we create kind of this ZK template, and we go and fetch that data, and we verify it inside this tunnel highway, right, covered to the telecommunication company. And the user is aware of which kind of data it was selected for the verification.
Got you. Okay. Are you guys tied to any specific chain? I could probably look it up.
Well, we are multi-chain. We're we launched our pre-alpha testnet on Ethereum and collaborate with Binance as well. But the ideal is that ZK Pass is kind of like a middle layer, and it can be utilized on different chains and implemented.
Probably, a silly business question, but do you guys have like ideal client? I know you said you would like to work more with governments, but it's probably not the ideal client, is it?
Ideal client, you'll be surprised. Actually, we're meeting a lot of our really stellar people that are really passionate about what we do, and I think that's one of the important aspects of really diving deep into learning what kind of services and why people do what they do. And we haven't had the chance of with collaborating with the US, since there is still a lot of different types of abstract organization when it comes to blockchain. But I think that the main importance for us is to be able to reach the largest amount of users, and do so through a use case that fits our mission and vision, which is ultimately to empower the users through their private data. So if we are able to provide that service and create the infrastructure, and in the meanwhile create an ecosystem with our partners to be able to do that, then and reach the largest amount of people possible, I think we have reached our goal.
Sure. So are there any like direct competitors to what you guys are doing?
Sure. One of them, it would be like Polygon ID, for example. And again, we bring it back to the fact that ZK Pass works without needing an issuer.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So you could say that there is nobody doing exactly the same ZK thing as you are.
Yeah, and the other aspect that I wanted to touch point is that our focus is to maximize our circuit so that it is efficient in terms of speed and cost. And this is really what our developing team has been working really, really around the clock on. Our proof time is around 2 seconds, which is pretty impressive right now in the space. And so we're really not only to offer a secure service, but also to be able to offer an affordable service.
Okay. Well, now you said it. So affordable, who pays for the service?
Usually it depends, because that's a good question. You'd be surprised, it's not always government that pays for it. But it really depends. It really depends on who is interested in creating the interface and being able to have that amount of users. Of course, if you can, for example, it could even be like a blockchain, right? We bring in a blockchain, and we know that this blockchain will be able to have added 9 million users to their ecosystem just by bringing into this use case. And how much would that be for them?
Right.
How valuable would that be?
So basically the answer is it's very individual.
Yeah.
And we still have to figure it out for every use case. Okay. No,
yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it's definitely obvious that it's early. So it's completely fair to be figuring it out.
And I think that's kind of the beauty about is the fact that there's so many different puzzles and possibilities. So you do, of course, need to learn of a lot of technical basics to understand how the protocol can be implemented, what kind of use cases can really work. And sometimes, sitting with our tech team to understand exactly when they go into details is quite a trip, to tell you the truth. And but the point is that also that I want to make, and that I learned through the process of entering this space, and we're going back to like full circle to the first questions you asked me, is that how a woman or how a person in general that doesn't have a tech background enters this space. And I think the number one thing is curiosity and commitment. This is not a kind of like I want to get rich soon type of scheme. Being part of this community is how you can bring value and grow yourself in the process, educate yourself in the process, but also is the fact that you're solving a problem. Right? You're providing a solution. And sometimes the people that are writing the code, or there are people that are focused on one specific thing, are not able to zoom out and see how this piece of the puzzle can be utilized to solve certain issues. Right? So we need different types of perspectives to be able to pitch in and see the larger picture.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think just today somebody talked about it on Spaces, and yesterday I talked with one of the clients of mine about this, that I call it diversity of perspectives. So you should always bring the next role you plan on bringing in when the situation gets better. You should always bring them in now, because now is the time when you need to build that base. And then everything will get easier. It's never ideal. And so ZK Pass is quickly becoming my favorite company because they apparently, brought in diverse perspectives.
Yeah.
Is it only you who is non-tech on the whole team, or there are other people?
No. Well, I mean, me specifically on, having to catch up and learning all the ins and outs of zero knowledge proof and the new updates and everything else. But there are people on the team, also women in the team, that do work in different departments that are knowledgeable about technology, very knowledgeable about technology, but have no tech background. And they just kind of, through the process of being in the mix of the project, have learned how how it can be implemented to the different use cases, what's needed, what it's not needed, what works, what doesn't work, the difference with other projects, and ultimately what can make us unique.
Right. Well, I have no doubts that, I think in my mind, everybody can learn anything if they really want to. And also, if you spend enough time in any space, you will kind of get hang of it, whether you want it or not. So I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what will be
just wanted to mention, you have to get through, because a lot of people don't push through the first layer, which is sometimes awkward and it feels uncomfortable, right? So it's like you get a lot of energy, but you don't know if you can sustain it because you constantly feel that you're not fully there. You're sometimes a little bit in and a little bit out. But really it depends on you if you are able to make that extra step. And so I think anybody that would like to enter this space is important. Anything you start doing, it might feel awkward at the beginning, but just keep going and find your niche that allows that stamina to be consistent throughout time.
Yeah, I would probably say everything you start as a new feels weird and awkward. So it's no exceptions, I think. Sometimes it doesn't have physical consequences, like when you learn sports, but it's always awkward. I would definitely say that. So what would be the best place to go learn more about, ZK Pass, if anybody is interested in, considering it as a use case for them, or basically just being curious about interesting new tech, which is connecting two worlds?
Absolutely. Well, I do recommend to always learn how to read a technical white page, and white paper is super important. And you can definitely find them through our website, which is zkpass.org. And I think this is one of the main awkward steps that even the most the users that doesn't know anything about technology need to start kind of understanding these kind of terms and how it's being put together. And that gives you, in psychology, we use it, we call it as a schema, as a drawer, right? We created this mental drawer. We don't know exactly where the information are supposed to be organized, but we create this drawer, we put all the kitchen sink inside, and we just wait for it to be kind of organized. And that's kind of the first step. So of course you can go through the website, look all the different type of information, but if you really want to dive deeper into the project and understand the backend, definitely go through the white paper, learn about the full system. And then we do from time to time do some Twitter spaces, and we don't do kind of like one-to-one users frequently asked questions at this time, but there are also some videos, one specific videos demo that we shared on YouTube, and perhaps we'll share more videos as well on how our protocol works.
All right. And I see you guys have a Discord, so
yeah, we have a Discord.
Probably always the devs' preferred way to jump in and ask questions.
Yes, unfortunately, I'll tell you the truth. I'll be fully candid and transparent. I'm not a huge Discord person. Some people that are not a Discord person, we already are kind of like spread across different channels. And we do. I like Medium articles. So we do have a Medium channel as well, and we publish our monthly tech reports as well, which can be very helpful to stay up to date.
Okay, perfect. I will gather all the links we mentioned from you. I will, of course, add your Twitter and other links which you would like to share to the show notes. Is there anything else, how the listeners potentially might be useful to you or to ZK Pass, or we just say bye?
I just very quickly wanted to give a message of comfort in a way, meaning I would like that a lot of people that perhaps, I'm sure that people that will listen to the podcast have some sort of like technical background, or somewhat are interested and curious in this space. Okay, so I think this is a disruptive technology, and a lot of times we don't know still how to incorporate into our life, how to relate to it. And I think the best way is to really learn it. And whenever we find resistance in understanding something, I think that's really the rabbit hole that we need to search in. And you never know, you might find yourself to become completely enamored and curious about things that, you never thought could be really relatable to you. So I invite every user to take this industry that is very colorful. I call it the crypto blockchain novella, as with the eyes of curiosity, and almost as a child that kind of like starts a new journey, and to see but always to bring discernment with you, anything you do throughout your journey.
Awesome. That was great ending.
Amazing.
I think this will I will use it as a prompt for the episode cover art.
Great.
Because that was a great message.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francesca.
Really a pleasure.